Some people get scared, and sometimes they get angry. This is a gift from God. It's okay to be different. I don't want to shave.
A lot of people in Mexico do see them as something evil.
And I think that this is where the legend of the wolf people came from.
There's a feeling that maybe they could catch it, or maybe it's some kind of omen.
His hair would grow quite long, and it would have more of a lion-like appearance.
Elderly ladies will cross themselves in front of him.
Sí se espantan mucho por creencias o X en la noche y es un poco, yo creo, impresión para ellos. Creen esa idea de que es malo, que te salen orejas o colmillos.
"31-year-old Jesus Aceves, called by his Mexican nickname Chuy, has a condition known as hypertrichosis. Its effects are obvious. Working in a Los Angeles circus is the only steady job he's ever known.
El increíble y sin igual hombre lobo!
Chuy's work in the circus has helped support his extended family back home in Mexico, but a regular income has come at a personal price.
I've had enough because people only see me as a freak, and that gets me down. I've lasted 15 years working in the circus, and that's all I know. But now I would prefer a normal job.
Chuy grew up in the rural Mexican town of Loreto, one of the few places on earth where his condition had ever been seen. It all began with Chuy's uncle Manuel, who was born in 1938.
He was the first member of the family with the condition that we know, and we inherited through him.
Manuel passed away 3 years ago, but there are 18 other hairy relatives. Of these, Chuy's sister Lilia is the hairiest female, and his 3 male cousins, Danny, Larry, and Elliot, are as hairy as him. Looking so different made growing up in rural, religious Mexico a difficult experience.
When I was a child, my only escape was to cry. That was how I got the anger out against the people who marginalize you and push you away. But as you grow up, you get used to those people.
Local prejudice forced the family to look elsewhere for work. So when a national circus promoter offered to train them as performers, they jumped at the chance. The Wolf People became one of the most popular acts in Mexico, but there were bigger things just over the border.
In 1999, I received a phone call telling me that there were some people known as the Wolf People coming to the United States. So they invited us to come over and work with Chuy, his sister, and his uncle, and that's how we first met. And from then on, we became very good friends.
Diego, better known in the circus business as VK the Clown, is now a close family friend. Back in the late 90s, he helped Chuy fit into American life after his move to Los Angeles. Chuy's arrival also gave science a chance to observe a condition that is so rare it had never been studied in the United States before.
Hypertrichosis is a congenital condition, and the incidence is 1 in 10 billion. The body is covered with hair, mainly on the face and in the interior and posterior torso.
It doesn't affect my health. It's just that I've got hair on my face, on my chest, and a bit on my arms. The rest is normal like any other person. The hair on my face is thinner because I've never removed it, but the hair on my head is thicker because I cut it.
Hypertrichosis is a genetic mutation, and cells normally have a switch that switch off hair growth in unusual areas of the forehead or the eye lids. But with hypertrichosis, that switch is switched on and there's hair growth everywhere. Since medieval times, there's less than 50 cases which have been described.
In the time of the traveling circuses, people with differences were able to secure jobs. People did refer to them as freaks, you know, the hairy people, the wolf people. So yes, we're fascinated by freaky conditions.
I've never used that word in my entire life, even when watching a film. I don't consider myself a freak. I don't like saying that word at all.
Instead, he believes his condition is a gift from God.
God made me this way. It must be for a reason. He didn't say be born with no hair. He said be born like this.
Unfortunately, this doesn't make life any easier for him. He's been using his circus wage to support a family back home in Mexico that never sees him.
Even though the circus pay him good money, traveling is a time it gets very lonely out on the road. And he does miss his family, of course.
If I had the choice between working in the circus or back in Loreto, I'd choose my hometown because then I'd be at home with my family. In the circus, you are far away from your family, so you miss them.
So, disillusioned with circus life and feeling isolated, all Chuy wants is a one-way ticket home. But there are obvious difficulties.
I think there's still a lot of prejudice. If he was to work in the public, I think the acceptance may be limited because his condition's so different.
Chuy could alter his appearance to fit in, but that closes the door on his life and wage in the circus. Just leaving the circus is a huge gamble, but one that he is contemplating. While in America, Chuy has lived with his cousin Pepe 40 miles outside of Los Angeles. Conditions are basic. Most of his money goes back home. But even here in liberal California, he finds it difficult to escape the discrimination that's haunted him his entire life.
It's not easy being a wolf man, a wolf person, because of the way people perceive you, the way people look at you.
People are cruel to me in many ways.
One year we went to a restaurant, and the owner actually came out and said he did not want us in there because he was concerned that he will scare the customers. Then he had a problem with the bank, where he actually went to a bank and they called the police. They thought he was wearing a mask.
Sometimes I felt the only way to cope with the humiliation I suffered was to drink, to smoke, and to even take drugs.
Chuy has had to fight this temptation. Since the early 90s, he's had his own family to support as well. Wife Vicky, who doesn't have hypertrichosis, and daughters Carla and Araceli, who have inherited the condition. But Chuy hasn't been able to help them through any problems. He's missed his kids growing up, and now he wants to go home.
I've been working to help my family since I was 12 years old. I'm going to go to Mexico to find a job. I don't know what, though.
Chuy is seriously considering leaving the States and returning home, even though it's a huge financial gamble. He decides to meet up with perhaps the only two people in the world who could fully understand his predicament.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué andas haciendo por acá?
Y nomás dando la vuelta.
Qué bueno que te acuerdas de los pobres. Venga, un abrazo, chinga, güey. Me da mucho gusto.
Es que otra vez lo mismo. Río.
Vente, vamos para acá. Pásale, pásale, pásale. Estás en tu circo.
His cousins, Danny and Larry, known as the Mexican Wolf Boys, have been working in the circus for as long as Chuy himself. Chuy is particularly interested in talking to Larry. He married and tried life outside the circus to please his wife.
No le gustó la vida del circo.
A ella no le gustó y pues como yo quería estar con ella, pues tuve que dejar el circo. Es que la vida del circo es muy complicada, es muy difícil, muy incómoda, vaya.
¿Cómo te fue cuando te fuiste cuando te saliste del circo?
La gente latina me consiguió el trabajo, que era limpiar centros comerciales de noche. Me dedicaba a cortar pasto en el día, entonces salía buen dinero. No era para hacerte rico, pero sí para poder comer y estar bien. Ya pues, sabes, con mi esposa y mi hijo, ¿no?
Si dejara al circo, sería para mí difícil o...
Eso depende de cómo te sientas tú.
No sé, yo no sé, me siento así como inseguro, pero por eso te pregunto si tienes que batallar o tener nueva gente, nuevos
Definitivamente
amigos.
sí, porque conoces gente diferente. Conoces gente diferente y definitivamente la gente no está preparada para uno. Entonces lo que debes de hacer es adaptarte a ellos. Claro, sin tener que olvidarte de tus raíces, ¿no? De lo que eres, de lo que has hecho toda la vida. Entonces, vamos, tratar de ser feliz donde quiera que estés.
The pressures on Larry led to the breakup of his marriage and his return to the circus. Chuy knows he could face the self-same problems, and even if he did find a job back home, the wages would be significantly less than in North America. And then there is always the problem of being someone who is always different.
The people call us like the Mexican Wolf Boys, but we doing everything in the circus, so we are performers. We do the trapeze, trampoline, jungles, clown sometimes, magic, the caña, the motorcycle, acts, and we are try everything.
The people, when they come to the circus, they really come to see the wolf voice because they expect to see maybe monsters in a cages or something like that.
People, and American and Canadian too. I mean, he said the Mexican wolf voice one time or two times, but this, and then say my name, Larry, you know. But in Mexico, you are the Mexican wolf voice all the time. That's why.
But despite all the potential problems, this Mexican wolf boy has decided to try and make it work back home. Chuy is about to take one of the biggest risks of his life.
Bienvenidos a la Ciudad de México.
I think that if I'm going to stay with my family at home, I'll be happier with them. Although, because I've never really lived in Loreto, I have no friends there. Sometimes people say hello, and I have no idea who they are, because I've spent most of my life in the States.
He estado más tiempo fuera en Estados Unidos.
¿Por aquí en la esquina?
Allá más allá, adelantito.
¿Por aquí?
Sí. Mi casa es esa de enfrente, esa que está aquí. Esa es. Aquí merito.
Hola, besito, mi amor, es papi.
It's been 6 months since he was last here, and once news gets out that he's back, the whole extended family turns up to greet him.
A ver si. Okay, Tiki.
It's exciting to come back and to see all my family again, my cousins, my wife, and my daughters.
Chuy has been supporting his family from abroad since he was 12 years old. First it was his mother Maria, and now it's his wife Vicky and two daughters, 3-year-old Araceli and 12-year-old Carla. They can't believe he might finally be home for good.
I hope that my son gets a good job and that he settles down properly, because he is needed as head of this family. I really hope that he doesn't leave again.
Things are going to improve with him home. We can start being a normal family again. Because with him being away and me being here, it hasn't been the same.
After the initial excitement, the family routine needs to get back to normal, and Chuy needs to catch up fast.
Chonito.
¿Eh?
Chonito.
¿Quién?
Chonito.
¿Quién dijo?
Chonito.
Chuyito, ¿qué?
Chonito.
I first met Chuy when I went to see the circus in my hometown. And then after the show, I went backstage to find him. There were so many things. I fell in love with his hair, the way he approached people and shook their hands, and even the way he smiled at them.
Nunca he venido a esta escuela desde hace un chorrotal de años. Carla. Y ahora me da una vergüenza venir. ¿Por qué estoy viniendo?
He's a very sensitive person. Considering what he has been through, he's a very sincere person, a very special person.
So special, in fact, that she was happy for her children to inherit a condition that she doesn't have.
I knew there was a high chance they would be born with the condition, possibly up to 90%. But for me, it has been a blessing to have a daughter like this. I don't think it's a curse. Quite the opposite. It's a blessing for whoever has hair.
The walk to school has raised long-buried memories for Chuy, issues that Carla has to deal with on a daily basis.
We have always suffered discrimination since childhood.
Sometimes other kids say things that offend me because sometimes adults put things in children's heads. They call me names, and they even tell their kids not to be my friend.
Carla has told me that the children tease her and tell her silly things, but she just ignores them. I told her to tell her teacher so that she can tell them off.
It must be difficult for Carla when people treat her like that, because as a woman or a girl, it is more difficult. I tell Carla not to take any notice of what people say. I feel my advice is pretty good because I have been through the same experiences.
I myself sometimes feel really angry. There's been occasions when I've stopped to answer back and I have asked them, what have we done so wrong? How have we offended you?
I would like my dad to be with me so he can help me to defend myself.
He needs to be here with his girls.
At 12 years old, Carla is having to deal with typical adolescent anxiety, as well as her increasing hair growth.
I once shaved, but it grew back again. And now I'm not going to do it again because I was born like this, and I want to stay like this.
With Chuy away, the women in the family have fought local discrimination alone. Carla's attitude is largely taken from her Aunt Lilia, Chuy's sister.
I spoke with Carla, and she doesn't want to take her hair off. And for me, the idea of removing my hair hasn't even crossed my mind. Why should I? I have my husband, my child, and my job.
Lilia has challenged assumptions since she finished working with Chuy in the circus some 5 years ago. She has the most hair of all the females in the family, but it hasn't stopped her from leading a normal life.
I started working in the circus when I was about 9 years old, but then I met my husband here in Loreto. got married, and had a child, and now I'm working as a policewoman.
Lilia is well known locally, but Chuy is finding things difficult. And while he's enjoying time off with his nephew, the rest of the family are feeling the strain. Without his income, there is no money coming in.
I've arrived home and it's difficult to get a job because people don't know me. I've only ever been home for a month at a time before.
Getting a job is not his only challenge. Fitting into a family that has lived without him for years is also proving difficult.
I had been commuting to the States for around 14 years, and I am used to a different kind of life, the circus life, away from home. So it feels a bit strange and uncomfortable to be here, having to help with the cooking and the housework.
I am happy to have Chuy at home, although he is a bit moody and bossy and complains too much, but we are all happy to have him back.
I think that Chuy wants to stay with his family, but sometimes he doesn't treat his wife and daughters quite as they deserve.
The money Chuy brought back from the States is running out, and it's starting to affect family life.
It's going to be difficult, but we are both going to try our best.
I think Chuy will be able to find work over here, but he's not going to be able to earn the same. So there's going to be less money coming in, which means that it's not going to be possible to help both his wife and me.
Chuy needs to get a job, but he's going to need more than his mum's confidence to help him find one. Work in his hometown of Loreto is hard to come by. The main local industry is agriculture, and there is no shortage of potential workers. It's almost impossible to find employment, and looking different doesn't help.
This is the kind of work there is. They are planting lettuce, but I have asked here, and there are no more jobs available.
With the money that he brought back from Los Angeles disappearing, time is running out. Leaving the States was a gamble that relied on Chuy getting a regular job here in Loreto to support his mother, wife, and kids. The big top has arrived in town, and things are getting so desperate that Chuy will try anything, even a return to the circus.
Hola, buenas tardes. Quería hablar un poquito con usted. Venía a ver si tenía trabajo.
¿Quieres trabajo? Híjole. Pues mira, ¿sabes qué? La mera verdad ahorita pues no, no hay trabajo, Jesús. Y más aquí que pues la gente ya te conoce. Nadie vendría a verte.
Eso es cierto.
Sí, a lo mejor para la próxima sí. Pero por ahorita pues no hay trabajo. No puedo darte trabajo ahorita.
Bueno.
Sí.
Pues bueno,
Jesús.
muchas gracias, Jorge.
Pues ándale, Jesús, gracias y que te vaya muy bien.
Gracias.
With nothing on offer, Chuy has little option. His dream might have been to find a job locally, but now he just needs work. He has decided to try the big city of Aguascalientes. Although it's 2.5 hours away by bus, it's nothing compared to living abroad. And although not the perfect solution, his wife, Vicky, understands.
I do support him looking for work in Aguascalientes. If he can get a good job, go for it. That's what we all want. For him to get a steady job so we don't have to be apart.
With a population of almost 1 million, Aguascalientes is certainly a city with employment opportunities. But with no friends here to help and with no proper qualifications, Chuy has a difficult task ahead. Construction would be his chosen path because it pays well. But at the moment, he's considering anything.
Disculpa, no se encuentra el encargado. No se encuentra el encargado. Está buscando al encargado, oiga.
Sí, a sus órdenes.
Vale. Me llamo Jesús.
Sí.
Venía a preguntarle si tenía trabajo.
Oye, ahorita andamos muy saturados de gente. Como ya se está acabando la obra, ya en realidad ya andamos en las últimas.
Bueno, entonces pues vengo.
Ándale, pues ahí en otra ocasión. Se han comenzado estos tramos y ya en esos a lo mejor sí se puede ver. Sí.
Gracias. Gracias. Buscando un trabajo.
Finding work is really difficult because there's not much work around, so you have to be really lucky. I think it's also a reaction to my condition, particularly from people in towns and cities who don't know me.
Ciudades o pueblos o qué sé yo. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
¿Usted es el encargado?
Sí.
Hola, mi nombre es Jesús. Venía a ver si tenían jale. Andaba buscando a ver si tenían jale o algo así.
Pues es que aquí es por contrato, ya se terminó.
Ya están completos.
Ya estamos completos.
Bueno.
Sí.
Ok. Bueno, entonces ahí a ver si en otra ocasión vengo. Dale, pues. Muchas gracias. Luego.
Chuy knew it wouldn't be easy, but what is most tiring is the uncertainty.
Buenas tardes. ¿Sí me da 2 tacos, por favor? Sí, por favor. Yo creo que la
Discrimination in Mexico or the United States? Well, over there you could say it's a bit less intense because they are more educated. But over here, it's a lack of respect or ignorance. We discriminate more because we're not as educated.
Por eso discriminamos por no tener educación. Si quiero ahorita se lo da a ellos el cambio. Dale, gracias.
With no luck in construction, Chuy tries a new direction. He arranges an interview at one of the top hotels in the city, and Chuy is nervous.
Hola, Jesús.
Buenas tardes.
¿Cómo te va?
Me llamo Jesús. Bien. Gracias.
Toma asiento.
Ok, gracias. Venía a ver si, no sé, tenían algo de trabajo, no sé, que puedan ofrecer.
Ofrecerte.
Ajá.
¿Qué has estudiado?
Pues la verdad, nada.
¿No has tenido estudios?
Más que los principales, nada más.
¿Has trabajado anteriormente en alguna otra parte?
No, más que en el campo o en la construcción.
En la construcción. Y únicamente has estado allá.
Ajá.
Mira, poderte ofrecer algún puesto donde tengas trato directo con el cliente es difícil. Ya tú me podrás entender. ¿Sí? Te digo todo esto, yo no cierro las puertas. A mí me gusta trabajar con gente que incluso pueda también ser minusválidos. Vamos a ver qué podemos hacer contigo. Te voy a proporcionar, te digo, una solicitud para que me la llenes, tener todos tus datos y tratar de contactar en el primer momento que tengamos, manejar una opción para ti.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
Al contrario. Estaremos en contacto, te estaré buscando por medio de tu solicitud. ¿Sale? Me dio mucho gusto.
Muchas gracias, igualmente.
Hasta luego.
Gracias, mi amable.
It's been 2 months now without work, and money is getting very tight. Chuy has few options left.
I have been talking to Vicky, and I'm going to go back to LA to look for work. We need to carry on with normal life. I need to work in order for the family to survive, and that's why I'm going back.
Es difícil.
It's difficult because we need him here. Having him there is better economically, we're not denying that. But on the personal side, it's not good because the girls need him and me too.
Chuy doesn't want to return to LA and leave his family again, and he has no intention of rejoining the circus. But after years of living in America, he thinks he can use his contacts there to try and find other permanent work.
motivo que me voy para allá es que porque hay más oportunidades.
I'm going over to the United States because there are more opportunities for me. I have more friends there, so I stand a better chance of getting a job than in my hometown.
De conseguir algo por allá que aquí en el pueblo de uno.
His old friend Vike is waiting for him at LA airport. However, there seems to be a problem.
Hi, yes. Yes, I was given the number to call regarding Chuy, Jesus Fajardo Aceves. Yes, he's there right now, okay. Basically, what we want to know is what's happening with him and what... Okay, yeah, I'll talk to him for a minute. Thank you. Hola, Chuy. Sí, queremos saber qué es lo que está pasando.
Chuy has been held overnight at the airport by US immigration. There is a problem with his visa that could have devastating consequences.
We just got the news that Chuy is going back home. They were unable to resolve the problem. His family, of course, are very concerned. He's very concerned because doesn't know whether he'll be able to come back at all.
It seems Chuy was refused re-entry to the States because of an irregularity on his original work permit. Immigration have discovered that another performer was added to his permit and identified as Chuy's wife, which she wasn't. Although Chuy claims to know nothing about the irregularity, he faces a long battle to prove his innocence. It could be as long as 5 years before he's allowed to even reapply for a new visa. Back in Loreto, with no money coming in, the Aceves household is broke.
Cuando él llegó aquí, bueno, pues fue miedo porque pues aquí es difícil.
When he came back, I felt a bit scared because over here it is very difficult to get a steady job and a good salary. Now we are going to have to be positive and work harder to be able to make it.
Pues yo creo que solamente de esa manera podremos salir los dos adelante.
Vicky has been getting a little temporary work, but the numbers just don't add up.
Cuando estaba en Estados Unidos mandaba para...
When I was in the States, I used to send money home for my family.
Para mí, para ella, para Carla.
But now that I am here, it is a little more difficult to share with everybody.
Que ya estoy acá en pueblo, pues
now it is much harder.
Ya darle poquito a cada quien. Entonces, pues ya es más duro.
Everyone in the family is having to help out, no matter how young they are.
Cuando hay trabajo aquí, ella trabaja.
When there is work here, she works to pay for her books and her own things. Whenever there's work, she has to work.
Y trabaja a veces.
And much to Vicky's distress, having Chuy back has actually split the family up. Whilst 12-year-old Carla can look after herself, youngest daughter Araceli has to stay with Vicky's parents 4 hours away. She's too young to be left alone.
No la vemos. No la vemos.
We don't get to see her much because we don't have money to travel there.
Tampoco económicamente. No hay. Es difícil.
Está llenando, Vicky.
Es triste.
It is sad.
Triste.
It is sad not to have her here, but...
Pero... Por otro lado, sé que también está bien.
She is in good hands.
Está bien y...
We've got to work hard to be able to bring her back as soon as possible.
Chuy is now facing the ultimate decision. He's contemplating something that he's been avoiding.
If I remove my hair, maybe it will be possible for me to find a normal job.
This would go against trying to preserve his unique identity. Chuy's Aunt Carmen shares his condition, but not his convictions. She's been shaving since she was a teenager.
Me empezó a gustar un muchacho
There was this boy that I fancied.
A mis primas que se depilaban.
And my cousins used to shave.
Empecé a hacer lo mismo.
So I started doing the same.
Incluso me acuerdo que dejé una
The first time I did it, I shaved half my eyebrow off by mistake, and I had to draw it back in with a pencil.
con un lápiz, dejármelo igual. Pues a pedir trabajo a algún lado, ¿no?
Chuy turns to his aunt for advice.
No sé si me vaya, no sé, a rasurar, no sé. ¿Tú qué consejo pensarías que está bien eso?
Pues es que si no consigues trabajo aquí, pues a lo mejor sí estaría bien que te lo quitaras, hijo. Porque muchas personas, por la causa del vello, no te van a dar trabajo.
No sé, pues lo voy a pensar, yo creo, y a ver si me rasuro, ¿no? Yo creo que estaría bien, no sé.
Yo también me lo quito y pues yo me siento bien. Ya si te sientes bien sin el vello, pues está mejor. Ya no te lo dejas crecer. Y si te dan trabajo así, sin vello, pues mucho mejor.
Eso sí. Pues sí.
Shaving offers a possible way out of the family's financial mess.
Él y yo ya hablamos de esto.
We've spoken about shaving, and if it's going to make it easier for him to get a job, well, go ahead. If not, we will find another way. But for the time being, he's going to shave.
It's a big decision. By shaving, Chuy will be losing a unique part of himself. However, he and his wife agree it's a price worth paying if it helps secure a job and allows him to stay with his family in Mexico.
I could have shaved my hair earlier, but I felt good as I was. Now I think I'll do it.
With the decision made, Chuy makes his way to the family barber. Aunt Carmen is waiting for him. As his aunt has been shaving since she was a girl, she will advise the barber on how best to shape Chuy's hairline. Although this barber has been shaving other members of the family for over 20 years, Chuy's condition is far more extreme. This will require an extra special level of care and attention.
Siento, no sé si como extraño.
Es difícil porque
It's difficult because as a family, we've got used to him with his hair.
Aquí le voy a hacer con el jabón y con la navaja.
Ajá.
Con esto.
Sí.
¿Le formo su patilla o le quitamos desde acá?
Patilla.
Su patilla.
Sí, patilla y
aquí está es muy delicado.
Sí.
Este es muy delicado.
Ajá.
Entonces hay que formarle su ceja, ¿verdad?
Sí. ¿Es mucho trabajo?
Esta parte es difícil.
Sí, ¿verdad?
Mucho.
Alrededor de los ojos, ¿verdad? Sí, porque tiene que hacerlo con más cuidado.
Y esta parte es muy delicada. La piel está muy sensible, muy delgadita.
Sí.
If one day I decide to take my hair off, however, I doubt I will. I think I will feel strange, just weird.
As his mom, I don't mind if he shaves or not. He'll always be my son.
Para mí es mi hijo.
And just when he thinks the worst is over, alcohol is applied to his extra tender skin.
¿Qué le parece?
Ahí está. Muchas gracias.
We take for granted how our faces are defined. In Chuy's case, he has no exact eyebrows or hairline, and so he has had to rely on Carmen and the barber to create them. His lower eyelashes have been left long. They're far too sensitive to touch.
Está mejor. Sí quedó mejor que otra vez. Aquí está.
Sí, está bien.
Muchas gracias.
Que les vaya bien.
Gracias.
Hasta luego.
Gracias. Hasta luego. Estuvo haciendo. Ahorita que me vea la gente. Bueno, dámela.
Bueno,
muchas gracias.
Nos vemos,
Hasta luego.
Adiós. Chao.
Hola, mija, ya regresé. ¿Cómo me veo?
Bien.
¿Y usted, Vicky?
Diferente.
No sé.
Bien.
¿Sí me veo bien?
Sí.
Bueno, pues a ver lo que hice. Sí me rasuraron.
Pero sí se ve bien.
Sí.
Bueno. Yo siento que ya el...
I think that simply by shaving, he might be able to get a job.
Por una parte puede ser posible que él consiga...
I think that if he finds a job without the hair, he will stay like this.
Así sin el vello, yo creo que se va a quedar así.
Mamá. Ya vine, mamá.
Ya regresaste, Chuy.
Ya me rasuré.
Ay, ya te ves raro, hijo.
¿Por qué dice?
Pues sí, hijo, mira.
Esto lo hice para, no sé, conseguir, no sé, trabajo y a ver qué.
Bueno.
Sí, eso lo hice y pues...
pues ya nomás acomodarte aquí así poquito, hijo.
Y esto, pues a ver cómo, pues, o sea, para pues seguir intentando ver si hay trabajo en Aguascalientes o algo así.
Bueno.
Ajá. Ok, ahora que me siento así más tranquilo,
Now that I feel more relaxed, I am going to try for a job again and see if I get lucky.
Para conseguir jale y trabajo.
I'm going to try different places and see how it goes.
A ver si tengo suerte.
And so it's back to Aguascalientes as a shaved man to try his luck again.
Disculpa, ¿no sabes si tienen jale?
Solamente este otro chavo es el jefe de planta.
Ok.
Ahí es.
Ok. Gracias.
So still no luck, as Chuy returns to the hotel for a crucial second interview.
Buenas tardes.
Toma asiento.
Gracias.
¿Qué haciendo?
Dando la vuelta y vine a informarme a ver sobre lo del trabajo, a ver qué eso me daba ahora como ya me rasuré, ya...
Dime una cosa, ¿cómo qué te gustaría, en qué te gustaría trabajar?
Pues no sé, realmente ustedes ahorita el puesto que no sé, que podría, no sé, yo...
¿Has tenido experiencia en alguna así como cocina, auxiliar de limpieza, lavaplatos?
Más o menos en eso,
¿Sí?
De limpieza, algo así.
Ok. Porque así ahora sí con la presencia no tendré yo mayor problema. Siento que en un momento te podemos ofrecer alguna opción, incluso en frente de la gente, atendiendo gente en un momento determinado. Estaremos en contacto. Tú vas a llegar una solicitud. ¿Sale?
Muchas gracias.
Me dio mucho gusto.
Igualmente.
Que estés bien.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
Hasta luego.
Gracias.
It looks like Chuy will finally get the job which will allow him to stay with his family.
It has been a very long journey. I don't think that I am going to go back to the circus because I have found a much better job here in Aguascalientes. I think that everything is going to be fine now for me and my family, even though nobody knows what the future will bring.
If Chuy's future is to remain hair-free, he will have to shave every 2 days for the rest of his life. If not, he knows what the problems will be. For now, things are looking up, but it's never going to be easy being a wolf boy.